So Don Fowler and I were graduate students at the same time and attended the same graduate classes, rather dry affairs with Professor Robin Nisbet down in Corpus Christi. And it was an exceptional class looking forward to people's future careers. I mean, some superb young classicists were there. And Don was really head and shoulders above everybody. He could do everything, all the traditional classics, the Latin, the Greek, the great knowledge of the secondary literature and so on. But his work, as was the case with all of us in those days, was really very traditional, very philological. And what made Don different when he moved from graduate status into professional classicist status was his interest in understanding of literary theory, in which he really excelled and brought all sorts of new approaches into the study of Latin in Oxford, which had been a fairly stuffy place on the language and literature side until then. So insights into intertextuality and closure and irony and all sorts of literary topics that really classics had been slow to cop onto back in the 80s. So he was very influential in that and passed that on to many of his own graduate students, and I'm sure his undergraduates too. So that's one of the things that makes him really special, is transforming what classics, particularly Latin studies, was in Oxford, I think. And the second thing I'd say about him from this point of view was he had a great network of international connections, partly in the United States, but especially in Italy. And in Italy, there were some very remarkable, great Latinists at the time. And Don acted as a sort of conduit, I think, between Latin studies in Italy and Latin studies in the Anglophone world. And that was tremendously refreshing. So his contribution on both those fronts is immense. And I'm very privileged to have known him, and I was reading his work again the other day, and it really has survived the test of time. It is fantastic. He was a great creative scholar and critic.